Good morning, everybody. Shift Your Mindset here with a new episode. It's about an article that will be released next week. So it's not on the website yet, but a source gave this already true. February 2026 Watchtower about peace and security. So, new light. In the sense of that the nations proclaiming peace and security may come after Babylon the Great is destroyed. Not before. Maybe. We don't know. And of course they wrap it around in questions from readers. I always find that section bullshit because there is no question of readers. It's the governing body wrapping it like someone has asked that question about that certain scripture, blah, blah, blah. When will the nations proclaim peace and security? As we considered in questions from readers published in a recent issue of the Watchtower, Jehovah will soon put in the hearts of the 10 horns all the political powers, that's the light, we know, his thought, namely that they give their power and authority to the scarlet-colored wild beast. And that will be now the United Nations. So Jehovah is putting his thought in the United Nations, and all the world powers are handing their authority to the United Nations. This beast, also called the image of the wild beast. Let us take a look at the inspired prophecy that the Apostle Paul wrote to the Thessalonians. Paul wrote, "Whenever it is that they are saying peace and security, then sudden destruction is to be instantly on them." Our publications have often explained Paul's word his way, this way. The proclamation of peace and security will be made just before the outbreak of the Great Tribulation. I also learned it that way, which begins with the destruction of Babylon the Great, the world empire of false religion. This future proclamation has been described as the final signal that the Great Tribulation is about to begin. However, there it comes, guys. After further careful consideration, a lot of praying and meetings, it seems that there is another possible explanation that we cannot rule out. Perhaps the proclamation of peace and security will be made after the destruction of false religion. Why might this be the case? Consider the following questions. What has been false religion's role in the wars of the nations? The Bible explains, in her, the great prostitute, Babylon the Great, was found the blood of all those who have been slaughtered in the earth. So, they promoted war, fueled acts of terrorism, so she has been a force of war and aggression, not peace and security. So will the nations proclaim peace and security only after they have removed Babylon the Great? That is possible, but we cannot be certain. It's one big article about we don't know. So, we have two possibilities discussed. Possibility one, that proclamation will be made close to the time, either just before or just after when Jehovah puts his thought into the nations' hearts, to give their power and authority to the wild beast. Possibility two, that proclamation will come after the political elements have destroyed Babylon the Great. And then the sentence they always use, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Bible prophecies are often fully understood when they are being fulfilled or after they have been fulfilled. So what they saying here is fully understood after or while they are being fulfilled. So they admit that they don't know what is going on. They admit that they don't know. But they wrap it around in a lot of weaseling words to go around the subject. But what they are saying is while they are being fulfilled or after they are being fulfilled, then we know how to read it. But that's easy because everybody can know that. Everybody can do that. You don't have to be a governing body member. You don't have to be one of the 144,000 to understand something after it has been fulfilled. Because then you can say, oh yeah, that is it. Oh, it worked out that way. So if we go back to that scripture, you read it in that certain way. So that's easy. So they go on the question of readers of November 2025, an explanation. So you gotta love how Watchtower spent decades, really decades, of acting like their timeline was straight, that was straight from heaven. They had a direct connection with heaven. And now it's suddenly becoming, well, actually there are multiple possibilities. And the sad thing is that the common Jehovah's Witnesses will eat it up again and like the explanation, and that this was the plan all along, that the light is getting brighter. But if you look closely at this whole article, the light isn't going brighter, it's darker, because they say while it's being fulfilled or after it's being fulfilled, we can be sure what it meant. So they're now grasping straws. They are not holy people. They have no connection with God or Jesus. There is no connection with heaven. That if they are praying, they get answers on things, on matters, so they can inform all the JWs. It's clear now that they are just moving up timelines. In November also, we also noticed in that article, maybe you don't experience Armageddon in your lifetime. So that last days of the last days in the last days is gone. You don't hear it anymore. We don't know. Just keep on the watch. Just do what we say. Just don't ask questions. Just follow the instructions. That kind of thing. And this is the same thing. So whatever life decision you want to make it, because all those moves we see here are unnecessary. So they say, maybe, we don't know, but keep on the watch. That's basically what they're saying. So it will be an interesting conversation you can have with some JWs if this article comes out, because we all learned from childhood on that if we hear peace and security in the world, that is the sign that in a few hours, minutes, weeks, Armageddon is coming. But now they say maybe false religion is getting wiped out, and after that they call on peace and security. But my question is, if they wipe out false religion, do they wipe out Jehovah's Witnesses? Because it's clear that they are going to the mainstream safe religion, that they let go of a lot of things, that they are now, we don't know, maybe, can be, but keep on the watch, keep doing this and that. But deep down inside, they don't know. And they had always, for decades, they knew everything. And people believed them, people followed them. But the more they do this, the more doubts they are creating with all those people. Because my generation, or the generation before me, my parents, they believed this for so many years. And now they are gonna say to those people, it can be this, but it can also be that. And we can add other things to it, because we don't know till it's happening or when it is fulfilled. So that's about everything about your future is getting on loose screws now. And that is terrifying for people who are believing everything for their whole lives. So I'm gonna be curious how this is playing out. I think it will be creating a lot of confusion in JW land, for sure. I'm happy that I don't have to stress about this anymore, about these topics, but I can imagine that a lot of people are being confused. Let's put it that way. So guys, let me know what you think of this subject, that they're moving the goalpost again, also on these matters. And this is a scary one, because the only thing, the most important thing is Armageddon paradise. That is their carrot on the stick. That is the reward. And now they are gonna reshuffle things in the line of that. So I'm curious what it's gonna be. Let me know what you think about the comments, what they are gonna do, what people around you are gonna say about this topic, because I think it's a pretty important topic if you are a Jehovah's Witness, because you want to get into paradise. And you're hoping about seeing those signs that activate, that trigger, activate the plan to paradise. So let me know. Have a great day. Subscribe, people. Let me know, like this video, share it with anybody you want to share it with, who needs it, who needs to hear it. And we see each other on the next episode.